My name is Dianne Reeves, and you're watching Best of Atlanta Concert TV.
I am thrilled to introduce you to Dianne Reeves, one of my absolute favorite vocalists.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
My pleasure.
I really want to get your story because I must say your publicist does a very good job of keeping you under the radar.
Really?
At least from what we've done our research, and we haven't found as much as we'd like. So we wanted you to share some of your story with us about what you do and how you do it.
Well, you know, as you know, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and a lot of people don't feel like that was a base for jazz, but actually it ended up being that way because a lot of musicians came through the city. I was born into a family of people who either played instruments or just loved playing music on the record player, and so it was always a part of my life. And my mother was someone that, you know, really instilled independence in me, and that you can pursue your dreams and, you know, they can come true. And so, you know, I spent a lot of my time just really listening to music, honing my skills, and I have an uncle who really taught me that you had to refine and define what it is that you're doing, and then I ended up going out into the world when I was about 18 or 19 years old, and I've been moving ever since.
When did you first know that this is what you wanted to do for your career?
I was 12 years old, and I was at Hamilton Junior High, actually, where it started. And it was interesting because we were doing this. We were the first kids at that time to be bused, and had this one teacher, Benny Williams, who was really. She was our choir teacher and various pulling students together, and she taught us poetry. It was more than just a music class. It was kind of like Glee before Glee. And so we put this show together, and I remember the Edwin Hawkins Singers were out at the time, and they had this song called Joy. And I remember I learned the song, and I stood on stage stiff as a board, and Miss Williams was in the wings saying, "Lift your arm," and I would lift my arm, and it would just stay out. And then she'd say, "Put it down," and it would go down. But I was still singing, and the thing that blew me away was the reaction of the people, and also how I felt, you know, singing. I found something that was mine, and that was the beginning of everything.
Wow, that's an awesome story. Thank you. So, some other things that we have learned about you is that you had quite an experience working with Clark Terry as a mentor.
Yeah, he was my mentor. When I, in high school, started performing with the jazz band and so forth. We won this competition that took us to Chicago to perform at what was then called the National Association of Jazz Educators. And he has always been an educator. He's always been someone who has, found talent, fostered talent, always been in your life, if he said he was going to do it. And I remember he said, "Give me your number and I'll be in touch with you." Well, it turned out that Clark and my uncle were in the Navy together in the band. And when he found that out, he couldn't believe it. But I was about 15 years old when I met him, and to this day we are in touch.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely incredible. How about Harry Belafonte? How did working with him influence your style? Because you seem to encompass so many different types of music.
He gave me that license, Harry showed me the world, going in terms of travel and through music. And he's someone who, he is very generous in sharing his stage. And I know of many people that would do the kind of things that he did. He used to tell me, if they're not standing when you're finished, then we haven't done our work and we'll go back until this is right. And he did that. And we traveled all over the world together, but not just traveling, but him telling stories of his walk, his journey, and the music. And it was interesting because at the time, I was really into my instrument and what it could do, Harry Belafonte was the one that showed me the power of words, and it was from that point on that I really wanted to interpret a song and really tell the story of a song.
You do it very, very well.
Thank you
for sharing that. What's it like growing up with the genius that you have in your family? I mean, you and George Duke, my gosh, I mean, two people from the same family that have such an influence on music right now. What was that like? I mean, what do family gatherings look like when you two are in the same room together?
It would just be, well, more than anything, we had so many people. I keep going back to the food because it was our place of fellowship, And I think more than the music, it would be you have this amazing dinner full of ums and yes and pass me some more, and then the dishes would be cleared away and people would start telling their stories. And that was the richest thing. I always loved being able to hear the stories and one day be able to tell my own. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it was like. And then the music would come, but it was really the stories.
That's awesome. Great stories. What's your connection with Atlanta? You've had some musicians that have performed with you. Terrion used to live here. I think he still has some connections.
My bass player used to live here, and but more than anything, when I first started coming, Atlanta was the first place that started playing my records in the late '80s, and just actually started playing Better Days. And every time I've come down here, whether it be with the orchestra or any small group, anytime, people have always come out, and it's been extraordinary.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So would you say that the musicians that come out of Atlanta are pretty highly respected out there in the world?
Oh, absolutely.
Nationally and internationally?
Yeah, I think, and a lot of musicians who come out of Atlanta moved here just to be, next to other people that, have it going on too, because there's a really nice music scene here.
It really is.
So,
thank you for saying that. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your connection with, how did you get into this whole movie thing? George Clooney and writing the soundtrack for his movie. Share some of that experience with us.
Well, it really came through his aunt, Rosemary. We had done this thing together, and I didn't know that she was a fan. You never know who's listening to you. And I asked him when he asked me to do the film, Good Night, Good Luck. I said, why did you select me? He said, because you were the only person my aunt ever talked about. She loved you. So I said, well, I need to hear this girl, And the extraordinary thing about doing the film was, he selected the music, and it was music of the late 40s and 50s that really, my part in the movie was more like the Greek chorus of the film. And I would sing these songs that had everything to do with the story and hidden meanings and so forth in them. And the thing that was so amazing was I called, I said, well, let's find out when they want me to do, the actual recording. And he said, no. He said, I want you to deliver your lines in the film, just like the actors. So I want you to sing live in the film. And I thought, wow. He said, I said, that's the best way that jazz is, appreciated. He said, absolutely. And so all the performances are live, and it was amazing.
Awesome.
And I got to play the singers that I listened to.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's truly awesome. And you do a lot of talk singing. Like, that's the best way I can describe what you do. And you introduce the band, and you're singing to people about hello.
Only one thing happened to me when I checked into the hotel. You see where I'm staying. There's a whole bunch of people dressed up in furry animal suits.
Nobody's ever really asked me that, but it came out of survival. When I first started singing, I found that the longest period on the stage was between songs, and I didn't know how to talk to the audience. I knew how to sing to them, and so I just would extend vamps and just say everything I wanted to say because I could sing it.
Today I had the chance to go.
Kind of like someone who doesn't stutter when they sing, they do when they speak. So it was like that, and it just became a thing, and I just kept doing it.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And I love the way you do it. It's just It's so cool. Are you going to be doing any more acting in the future?
I mean, I'm open to it. I would really like to do it. You know, right now I'm working, almost finished with my next record, excited about that. And so if that is down the road, I'm ready. I'll do that.
So is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to share with us, just so that we know a little bit more about you?
Well, I think you've asked some pretty great questions. I mean, things that most of the time people never ask me.
Well, thank you.
And I thank you for that.
Oh,
But more than anything, I'm just glad to be here in Atlanta and just look forward to coming back. I always do.
We look forward to having you. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us and talk to us today.
You're very welcome.
I guess you see this song has no words for a particular reason. I remember when I used to go and see Celia Cruz. I'd be in the audience, she'd be singing, and I'd be rocking and dancing and jamming, but I did not understand a single word she said. And I realized sometimes it doesn't even matter. It's about soul to soul to soul to soul. And that woman really took control. She used to sing, but I